Hello, FPL managers, and welcome back to FPL Saturday Live by Fantasy Football Hub. We'll be talking you through all the 3 p.m. Premier League games live from an FPL perspective. We will bring you all the goals, assists, bookings, injuries. Can you just mute, Rich?
I'm trying to, mate. I'll try
1 second, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know how to stop it. Not responding. Hang on. I'll pause it. I'll work out what to do.
No worries, mate. Okay.
Go ahead, Andy. Sorry about that.
We will eventually bring you all the goals, assists, bookings, injuries, dodgy VAR decisions, and anything else live as it happens. But most importantly, what this means for FPL. We will also keep an eye on live bonus points, averages, and stats, courtesy of FPL Live. .net. My name is Andrew, and I am joined once again by one of the best FPL managers of all time. This guy's never finished outside the top 35k in 13 seasons of playing. He has 7 top 10k finishes and 2 top 500 finishes. If only he could learn how to mute YouTube. It's the legendary Rich Clarke. Rich, has your head stopped hurting after all the drama and decisions of the week?
Hi, Andrew, and hi, everybody. I've got quite a sore head due to going out last night, actually. But, quite a dramatic week and a good start to the day if you owned Mane, etc. this afternoon. So I'm happy about that. But, raring to get going for the rest of the afternoon. So we bring these guys some team news?
Yes, if you want to bring the team news first, Rich.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll start off with 3 of the games we've got. I'll start off with Southampton and Newcastle. Big news on Southampton is that Danny Ings does start. He was sold by a lot of people this week, probably to get Aubameyang in, but he does start in a good fixture. And McCarthy also keeps his place in goal. He was thought to be a bit vulnerable to being dropped, but he's starting. Vestergaard, Obafemi and Romeo are only good enough for the bench. News for Newcastle is that Joe Linton is finally dropped and Dwight Gale is in and starts up front alongside St. Maximin and Almiron. Shelvey is in midfield alongside Hayden, Matt Ritchie and Almiron, who's the form man after the FA Cup win in the week. Moving on to the Wolves game. A lot of interest in this one, and this is a familiar looking team as usual with Wolves. Another advantage to owning their players. Jota and Jimenez start up front in what still looks like a 3-5-2, but there is no place for Adama Traore today. He is fit enough for the bench, so perhaps still worth holding for game week 31. Ruben Vinagre comes into the midfield alongside Moutinho, Dendoncker, Neves and Matt Doherty, the other highly desirable player. Brighton, who looks set for a bit of a gubbing today, in my view. And I've still got Matt Ryan in goal, so looking like I'm going to get a blank there once more. And the changes really for Brighton are, not just changes. Mopé retains his place up front. There's no place for Murray or Pascal Gross or Stevens. Bissouma starts and Trossard gets a start in midfield. And there's a back four of Montoya, Webster, Dunk and Proper. And then the final one I'm covering is Sheffield United against Norwich. The big news for Sheffield United is that Lord Lundstram is back in the side.
Third on my bench, tucked away, third on my bench.
He's on your bench, and anyone who's hung on to him for this long has still probably got a £4 million defender who's back making starts. So he's ousted Sander Berge to the bench. And so good luck, guys, if you've still got Lundstram. He could haul today, and is still now a nice prospect for you. Familiar setup for Sheffield United. They're a bit like Wolves. Ender Stevens has recovered from the knock he got last week, and he starts alongside all the usuals like Egan, O'Connell, Fleck and Baldock. They're all starting. Sharp and McBurney are up front with McGoldrick and Mousset on the bench. Norwich, who look a bit tighter of late, obviously beat Spurs in the week with their penalty hero Tim Krul starts in goal. And this time they go with Aarons, Hanley, Godfrey, and last week's hero Jamal Lewis, Teti, McLean, Buendia, and Duda alongside, start in front of Campbell and Pookie up front. That's my 3 matches, Andrew.
Lovely job. Thank you very much for that, Rich. Yeah, so I will just run through the lineups for the other 2. Firstly, we have Arsenal v West Ham. There's a lot of eyes on this Arsenal game this afternoon with all the Aubameyang, Pepe, Saka double game week chat. So just to run through the teams, the major news for Arsenal teams, we've got Pablo Mari making his Premier League debut at right back in place of Bellerin. So that's probably a bit of a surprise at right back. We then got Eddie Nketiah starting up front, who I know is reasonably popular on Twitter as a differential for this week, for the double game week. But the major news is that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang starts for Arsenal. So we'll run through some stats in a bit in terms of his ownership, captain ownership, etc. But there was a couple of rumours earlier on that he may be rested, but he does start. Thankfully, as a captain, I would have thrown myself out my window if he hadn't, especially after taking Mane out for a hit to enable it. So just to run through the Arsenal and West Ham teams. So firstly, Arsenal, Leno in goals, Socrates and David Luiz centre-backs, Mari, as I mentioned, at right-back, Saka at left-back. Thank you for Christopher Tellez, more in the know than I am, says it was likely that Mari will be playing at centre-back with Socrates at right-back. Thank you for that, Christopher. Much appreciated. They've then got Ceballos, Xhaka, Pepe, Ozil, Aubameyang and Nketiah at front. So quite an attacking looking team there from Arsenal, I think, against West Ham. So hopefully points to a few Aubameyang points.
I don't think my sofa's big enough.
Just let everyone know that all the games have kicked off. We're a minute in. We'll obviously keep everyone up to date on those, but we'll just finish through the lines-ups. In terms of the bench then for Arsenal, it is Bellerin, Lacazette, Nelson, Martinez, Willock, Guendouzi and Martinelli. For West Ham, Fabianski in goals. They've then got Ngakia, number 52, playing, looks like, at right back with Diop, Ogbonna and Creswell. There is then Rice, Noble, Bowen, obviously, who scored last week and looked good. For Niles, who had 2 assists last week, last Saturday, retained his place, along with Antonio and Haller. So strong team from West Ham. And yeah, it's a good point from Static. Ceballos seems to have nailed down a position. I remember he started the season really well when he came in. He seemed to run the midfield a little bit and then went quiet and then got injured. But he could be one to look out for over the coming game weeks, especially with Arsenal's nice fixtures, which we'll run through in a bit. The West Ham substitutes: Balbuena, Zabaleta, Felipe Anderson, Lanzini, Snodgrass, Soucek and Randolph. So a very, very attacking bench as well. They got Felipe Anderson, Lanzini and Snodgrass on the bench. Snodgrass bench, second week on the trot. Quite surprising, but that is what it is. So that is Arsenal. The referee there is Martin Atkinson. And then going through Crystal Palace versus Watford. In terms of the Palace team, we have Guaita in goals. We have Ward, Dan, Cahill and Van Aanholt. Looks like a back 4 again. Then McCarthy, Koyate, and Zaha in midfield with Jordan Ayew and assist machine Benteke up front for Crystal Palace. I just can't get excited about that team for the life of me, even though Zaha did show some attacking intent last week. I just struggle to get excited for it. Substitutes bench for Crystal Palace: Milivojevic, who seems to have pretty lost his place at the moment, even though he was their star player last year, him and Zaha. Maya, Townsend, Hennessy, Schlupp back. I think he's back from injury. Kelly and Riedewald. And for Watford, just one change for Watford. So Pereira starts for the injured. What's the chap's name? For the injured Jelafo. Apologies about that. As they have Foster in goals, Firmino, Kabasele, Cathcart and Messina. Then Will Hughes, Etienne Capoue. Sarr retains his place after his wonderful performance last week. Decore, Pereira and Dini. And on their bench they've got Gomez, Dawson, Mariappa, Welbeck, Shalabar, Gray and Pusetto, with the referee being Anthony Taylor. So they are the teams. Just say, if you're in the chat, please give us a wave or a hello in the live chat. Tell us where you're from and also what you want for the 3 p.m. games, and who is your captain for this week. We are very, very interested to know. Also, any questions, comments, goals or anything else that we miss, please feel free to get them up for us to discuss. At half-time, we will look at the BPS, look at the bonus points, and we'll also bring you all the all-important team news from the Burnley v Spurs game at 4:30. Just to go back up a little bit then in the chats. Hello everyone who said hello. So you have Metal Cleats from Oakland, California. Hello there, and hello there, Metal Cleats. It's Captain in Aubameyang. I've got Wayne Thomas from Manchester, also on Aubameyang. RM Al-Rahawi, hello from Oman. Martin Bester from South Africa is Captain Aubameyang as well. So a lot of Aubameyang captainers so far. FPL telling Josh Salah captain. Nice start. VVD and Trent hasn't been a bad start. Not bad. It could have been more if Bobby hits the target and Origi squares it. Yeah, I think 2-1 kind of seemed to flatter Bournemouth in the end. In all fairness, Mane obviously hit the bar as well in that game, so that could have been more. Christopher Tells tuning in from Kenya. Hello there, Christopher. Going to be watching the Arsenal v West Ham game with commentary off. That's a good idea. We do tend to get the goals quite quickly, and a couple of guys were moaning last week. We were giving updates on goals before it actually happened on people's live stream. So yeah, that's probably a good idea. Banyai Katalin from Hungary, captain in Aubameyang. Nuclear Atoms chatting from Bangladesh. Hello there, Nuclear. I have a Aubameyang captain. It is time. Let's hope so. I've captained him as well. We'll come on to Rich's one now. Double trouble. Come on, Newcastle 3-1. Static London Salah cap have Mane 2. Well done. That's a really nice one. I took Mane out for a hit this week after saying for weeks and weeks on this and on other podcasts and things that I'm going to play my own game. I'm not going to be talked into things by double games and everything else. And what do? I take out Mane for a hit at home to Bournemouth. I deserve everything.
Did you get in for him?
I did a double move. So I took out Mane. If it was any other way of doing it, I would have. But obviously Mane had all my cash in him. So I did Mane and Vardy, because Vardy, even though he's home to Villa, there were some kind of nasty rumours yesterday about he may have some involvement, may not. So I did Mane and Vardy out for De Bruyne, who I took out the week before for Fernandes, De Bruyne and Aubameyang. So I'm quite excited still.
Brave move though. Brave move bringing, even though it's bringing in a player who is a doubt. He's one of those players. I've captained De Bruyne, actually.
You have captained De Bruyne.
The last minute I captained KDB, just because Milner was playing and I took the captaincy off Salah and moved it onto KDB just because I'm confident that he'll play at least tomorrow because it's the Manchester derby. He might get a rest in the week if he's not 100%, but I just don't feel that he won't play the Manchester derby.
Well, with Mane playing the game last week, he also played 90 minutes, didn't he, in the FA Cup. I wondered if there was a chance he wouldn't play. It was unlikely, but there was a chance he wouldn't play today. But also with Atletico, and a pile of games that come up for Liverpool, I thought I'd take a chance. I'm chasing rank a little bit. I do fancy Aubameyang actually against West Ham and against Man City actually, and I fancy De Bruyne in both as well. So my kind of thought process behind Mane and Vardy was, so even though Mane looks like he's going to get 13 points, which is obviously a really good haul, right? And I would have actually captained Mane, so I've captained Mane the last couple of weeks as well. But that's kind of what it is.
I've not been brave enough to captain him.
I
did that first week. That first week I had both of them, and then he outscored Salah by 1 point. But it was such an uncomfortable watch, if you remember that. It was like I just went back with the herd after that, and I wish I'd captained him today. But I'm very happy with 13 points because he is something of a differential. So
he is. I also looked at next week's fixtures as well for Arsenal and Man City in terms of Aubameyang and De Bruyne. Arsenal have got a couple of really nice games are coming now as well, and next week Man City are home to Burnley as well. So I just made the call. It could still work. It may not, but we will see. Just keep it on going down. So hello there, Harley Meaden. And Harley had Salah captain. Not a bad start, so you'll get 18 points. So Salah ended up on 9 points. Ola from Malaysia captain Salah. Well done. And well done to Alex O'Neill as well. So caught up on the chat. Just to run through some stats. There hasn't been any goals, so we're coming up to the 9th minute played now in all 5 games. There hasn't been any goals yet. Just going to run through a few stats. So first, captaincy stats. So captain ownership in the top 10k. 49% of captains in the top 10k. Rich, who do you think they captained, Salah or Aubameyang?
Wow. Well, I'm not sure 49% would have owned Aubameyang, so I'd go with Salah if I'm guessing.
It is Aubameyang. So
is it really?
It is in the top 10k. So
brought in. Well, I guess everyone who brought him in would captain him, wouldn't they? So that's a very, very high amount of people who brought him in, isn't it?
It is, yeah. 25.9% of top 10k managers captain Salah. 10% of captains De Bruyne, 3% Aguero, 2% Pepe. Wow, that's a rogue move, but one which could pay off. And then a couple for Mane and Mahrez. Interestingly, 1.56% of the top 10k also triple captained Aubameyang. So no goals yet in any of the games after 10 minutes. Just a quick update. Thank you, Chris Vitellis. Yellow card for Fornells after he brought down Ketia. Leonardo Silva is on 32 points so far. Well done, Leonardo. That is a great start. And a question, Rich, off Static. For those who captained Auba, would you take 18 points overall right now?
Wow. Well, over 2 games.
Yeah.
No, not right now.
I certainly wouldn't either. No.
Better than that over 2 games. Yeah, I wouldn't stick. I think if I can, I don't own Alba, and I think if I can get away with him only scoring 1 goal across the 2 games, I'm doing well.
Well, I think that then would be 18 points, wouldn't it? Because you would guess if he scores, you'd probably get the bonus as well.
Yeah, and then he'd get another 2 for the next game, so that's going to get to 18. So one goal and some appearance points and a bonus is going to get into 18. So that's not enough. I think you're looking at maybe 25, 26 as half for this week.
Welcome FPL Heskimo, obviously very active on Twitter, posts some really, really good stuff. Afternoon to you. And he said a save point for McCarthy already. So that's interesting that Newcastle on the attack against
they've suddenly found a goal scoring ability after beating West Brom in the week. That was a bit of a shock. I expected West Brom to win that game. But they've suddenly come to life, Newcastle.
So captaincy stats overall then. So this is for overall players. Salah was captained by 21.5%. So overall he was the highest captained player. Aubameyang overall 17.8%. Which is probably quite high considering half teams are probably inactive now. So that's reasonably high. De Bruyne 9%. So you would fall into that 9.34%, Rich. Aguero 8%, Mane 7%, and Vardy 5%. So they're the overall captaincy stats. Still no goals. Let everyone know after 12 minutes played now across the games. Alex O'Neill brought in Saka and Auba for a 2-week punt. Yeah, no, I think it's a good shout. It's just a shame that Saka's not a defender. I think in midfield you're only really relying on assists. I know he's got a couple of assists. He is cheap. But I'd be surprised if he did get anything. But he's still worth a punt. Martin Ellicott accidentally captained Mane over Salah. Oops. That's worth 8 points to you. So congratulations, Martin. That is a nice mistake to make. Yeah. In terms of effective ownerships, this is the one which is always really, really interesting because it normally tells us that even when we have our good players and they score points, that we'll actually still see a red arrow. But just to look at some top 10k effective ownership. So this is top 10k. So these are the kind of premium players at the moment. Salah's effective ownership is 115%. So if you're in the top 10k and didn't captain Salah, you will see a red arrow due to that. Same for Aubameyang. So Aubameyang's effective ownership in top 10k is 106%. So again, if you've got Aubameyang and you didn't captain him and you're the top 10k and he does anything, your rank will go down, sadly. De Bruyne's effective ownership is 91%, which is reduced from last week. That is probably down to his injury scare, which we will touch on in a little bit. Just to answer a question, really interesting question from Notorious Nerd. Guys, when are you free hitting? Rich, have you got your chip strategy in place yet?
Great question. I only have at the moment 4 players who are playing in 31, and I have 3 transfers. I saved my transfer this week, so I'm looking at possibly just going with 7 players and getting through that week. It's probably the minimum amount I think it's possible to get through that week with. I haven't written off the idea of free hitting. I still think it's okay to free hit that week, but just I think the thought of having a wild card and a free hit for the run in will make me strong, and that to be honest, that makes me feel that I want to save the free hit for either 34 or 37 when the doubles are coming, and I'll use the wild card probably first in order to set the team up for the run in.
Okay.
So probably likely to free hit in 37, but of course we don't know the fixtures yet. If most of the fixtures go into 34, then that could be the better week to free hit. So what about you, Andrew? When are you going to free hit? Have you used yours yet? Or
no, I haven't, but I have decided in this last week or two. I was tempted to use it this week actually, just to try and attack a little bit in terms of Man City and Arsenal players. But I did have out a good team. I actually probably wished I bench boosted now, because as kind of mentioned earlier, my bench this week is McCarthy, Fleck, Lundstrom, and Lascelles. Obviously, we're only 50 minutes in at the moment, but they're all keeping clean sheets at the moment. Obviously, Fleck's a midfielder, but so at the moment, so I think a bit differently with this stuff, and I don't want to like sound like an absolute prat now. So apologies to him if he does, but I am wondering whether this coronavirus stuff is going to affect the Premier League games in the next month or two, and I don't only mean from a cancellation view. I'd be surprised if they were cancelled, but at the moment with everything that is going on, I saw yesterday on BBC Sport they were talking about the potential to play games behind closed doors and things like that. I do wonder, we have zero precedent over this stuff, right? We have zero precedent of Premier League games being played behind closed doors, and worst case scenario, games actually moved or postponed or cancelled or whatever it is, right? And I'm just of the opinion at the moment, I'm just trying to take the points while they're in front of me, because you just never know. We have no precedent of this whatsoever, have we? And maybe I'm overthinking it, but just looking at how quickly everything is moving, I would be very surprised if in the next 2 weeks, personally, that all the games are still going ahead with maximum attendance and whatever else. But that's just personal view. Back to the football. The reason I'm playing in 31 is because, and I've actually done it to myself. This on this game week is I'm purposely trying not to let the doubles and blanks dictate my play. And I've done it this week. So I've taken out Mane as a prime example. So I've actually gone against my own, my kind of own advice this week by doing it again. But in 31, so everyone is stockpiling their players for 31 at the moment. But my view is there's still a couple of weeks until 31. Who's to say that these players are going to be fit? Who's saying they're going to be on form or whatever else? So everyone who's got 6 or 7 players, who's to say those 6 or 7 are going to actually actually start? And I actually see that now that the Spurs West Ham game is going ahead. Before that, I was a little bit unsure, but I do potentially see that Spurs game as the source potentially of a few points and things. So
good differentials. Yeah.
I just think I'm going to go for the 11. I will also have players on the bench who could potentially play if needed. So potentially players who are playing 7 or 8 players could end up with only 6 or 7 playing. I should end up with 11 playing, and as I say, I'm chasing a little bit, so I'm going for it a little bit.
You've got to think that's going to be worth 15 to 20 points to you, isn't it? Really?
Well, and that's just off starting points and a potential goal or assist. If 3 or 4 of those players kick off, it could be worth a lot more. So that's what I'm going to do. 34 could end up being a bit of a damp squib anyway. It could actually be just normal game week, and then I will look to use my bench boost for 37, which looks like all the main all the main teams are going to have a double then anyway. So as long as I can get out, 13, 14 players, and the majority have got a double game week. I think that's.
I think as well that if you've still got your wild card as well, then there's nothing really wrong with free hitting in 31. A lot of people have wild carded early to try and make ground. This week being another example where quite a few wild carders have got several doublers in for City and Arsenal, set up a team for 31, and they're obviously not going to free hit in 31. But if you've still got a wild card to use in the last 6 game weeks, 7 game weeks, free hitting in 31 is fine, and I'm still thinking about doing it.
Agree. Okay.
Good.
So we're 90 minutes in, still no goals in any of the games yet.
We've never quite gone that deep before, have we?
Come on, Aubameyang. I think about 3 weeks ago we went to like 25 minutes or something. But just some comments then in the chat. Alex O'Neill brought in Declan Rice as he's a cheap bench player, plays in 31, isn't from Wolves. I was hoping to have 3 other Wolves. That might be a nice shout there, Alex. Leonardo, for me, 34 is the ideal place for a free hit. I did agree until this last week or two, but I say if you follow Ben Crellin, who really knows his stuff on all this, and also actually James from Planet FPL, they've a feeling that there may only be 1 or 2 doubles now in 34, so I'm not sure it is actually. And having a quick look at the fixtures, they're not the most exciting fixtures either. So, but again, everyone plays their own game. It's a personal view. Sayuj's vlogs. I have 6 players for game week 31, so I'd bring 2 for the next game week and 2 the next. Effectively, would have 10 for 31. You could have 10 as long as they all start. As long as they're all fit, etc. Then wildcard in 32, bench boost 34, and free hit in 37. It's a good idea. I do think free hit in 37 is probably a good idea because that is when we'll likely have a really big double game week, either bench boost or free hit in 37. So yes, I agree with that. Notorious Nerds, coronavirus can bring more blank game weeks and Hallelujah, if the games are behind closed doors, it'll still be on TV. Yeah, sure. I think the point I was making around the potential for disturbances there is that we have no precedent of teams playing behind closed doors. I don't think a Premier League game has ever been played with no fans, and we have no idea how this will affect the home team, the away team. If there'll be very few goals, whether there'll be a lot of goals, we haven't got any idea. I suppose this is my point. And also, who's to say it won't come to a point where the games will actually have to be postponed, pushed, move around, abandoned, or even cancelled.
There could be more important things than football, couldn't there? In a month's time.
This is it. World health is certainly more important, but again, that's just my thoughts. Christopher Telles, Saka looking very dangerous down the left. After all my words about Saka, don't have Saka. He's a waste of time. He's looking very dangerous. It's good. And Akil, West Ham dominating Arsenal. That is interesting, especially for all us Aubameyang captainers, which is hopefully Aubameyang can catch them on the break. Akil, question for you, Rich. Antonio for the double game week.
I like Antonio. He's got a lot of spirit, hasn't he? And he tries probably harder than any other player in the Premier League. You can see that. He's maybe not the most talented player, but he's certainly got heart. Could be a good differential for the double when they have one.
Okay,
absolutely.
So, Rich, a couple of talking points then. Please feel free to put any talking points in the chat if you'd like us to talk about anything while we're waiting for the goals, of which so far in 5 games there are none after 23 minutes. But if you do want us to talk about anything, please put it in the chat. I would say the first thing, again in living memory, I think this season's been a lot of firsts for FPL, but I've never seen a game rearranged within, was it 7 or 8 days? I think it was a week, wasn't it? In terms of the Man City game for next Wednesday, Man City Arsenal, actually being rearranged within a week. I've never seen that before, and I know that they were desperate because there was no other game weeks. Can you remember that, Rich? I think it's potentially sent a bit of
Well,
pressure.
yeah, I mean, it took a long time for them to announce it, but then only give fans who really want to go to the game, particularly London-based fans, a week to make travel arrangements. And with the cost of travel, and the way things are priced these days, this is more expensive at short notice to go, isn't it? So it wasn't very fan favourable.
No, absolutely.
And I was actually betting that it wouldn't get into the same game week,
And me.
So that's gone against me a bit with the surprise double. But it was quite quick.
Yeah, I took out De Bruyne because I was convinced that that it wouldn't be announced with a few days to go. So I took out De Bruyne for Fernandes in 28, and that's obviously bit me back a little bit. Even though Fernandes got the 10 points, I then didn't have De Bruyne for a double game week. And there was also the injury scare there, obviously, with De Bruyne with his shoulder. So he missed the FA Cup game, I think it was Wednesday night, due to an injury scare. We still don't know if he's going to play, but there were quite positive comments yesterday from Pep. So, Rich, you've captained De Bruyne this week. What was your thoughts behind that in the end?
Well, there was, it was again. I think I said at the beginning. If it wasn't, the Manchester derby, and no matter what anyone says, there's still a huge rivalry between United and City. A lot of fans will see it as the biggest game of the season, and I can't see De Bruyne not playing in that game if he's 90% fit. I just, I think he will play. I think Pep will want him to play, and therefore in my squad he's the only double game week player I had. I did not buy any additional double game week players this week. And then when I saw the team sheet or got the news of the team sheet 15 minutes before the kickoff, before the announcement today, I swapped the captaincy from Salah to De Bruyne because Milner was starting for Liverpool. Purely that just made me think, well, Salah's off penalties, could have his minutes managed with Atletico in the week, and therefore that was enough to say just pick the player who's got 2 games. Because 2 games, no matter how much knowledge we think we've all got and can predict who's going to score, you've got a player who's got the potential there for 2 matches.
Of course,
so that was it. Simple logic.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So we've had updates. So Christopher Tellis, header from Socrates hits the bar, would have been an assist from Aubameyang. Thanks for that, Christopher. That's a real shame, obviously, being a Aubameyang owner and captainer. Metal Cleats, Serie A could be a good barometer for the effect on goals, differential on home advantage, etc. from coronavirus closed doors. I agree with that, Metal Cleats. It would be interesting to see what happens there. Question, Rich, from Notorious Nerd. How do you feel now about Liverpool assets? Is double defence still viable, or triple Liverpool too much? Really good question there, Notorious Nerd. What are your thoughts, Rich?
I'm quite happy still going with 3 Liverpool players, at least all the way through 31. Definitely not going to sell Mane now. But I expect most people will now look for a way to bring him in the next 2 weeks for the game week 31. I think I've always thought that once Liverpool have actually wrapped up the title, which might come around game week 32, 33 now they've lost a game, then I'm not going to be so fussed about owning Liverpool assets at all. I will probably start by moving away from one of Salah or Mane, and possibly even selling Alexander-Arnold. Although, to be honest, I'll probably keep Trent for the rest of the season just because of his attacking qualities.
He's so dangerous all the time, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd definitely go down to 2, and towards the end, in the last few weeks, happy not owning Liverpool assets if they're prioritising the Champions League, for instance.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Rich. We've just had an update from James Conroy. Southampton red card. This could be interesting. So it's not come up on my thing. We'll see if we can have a look in a minute. It's not come up on the FPL Twitter yet. It'd be really interesting to see who that is.
Musa Gineppo.
Gineppo's had a red card. Wow, okay. So that's... it's just come up for me as well. That's very interesting. If anyone has seen that, please let us know what happened as an early red card. And I've got Lascelles on my bench. we've got Ings playing. It's just going to be one of those. There's been a goal. There's been a goal. Just let everyone know. It looks like Crystal Palace have scored.
Wow.
No details as yet. Soon as we get it, we'll get it. But it looks like Crystal Palace have scored at home to Watford. So no good for the Watford clean sheet there. We will just wait to see who that is. But Crystal Palace have scored a goal. Just to say, James Conroy said it was a yellow reviewed to a red. Well, that must have been a pretty bad challenge. We will go back up now, guys, in a second, and we will
Jordan Ayew
go through the
again.
question. Jordan Ayew, he's been on fire. Jordan Ayew gets the goal. Yeah, as Notorious says, Martina clean sheet wiped out. We will go back up the comments now, guys, and answer a few of the questions. We'll wait to see who's got the assist for that. The red card for Gineppo has been confirmed. This was on FPL Twitter, but we will wait to see the assist for Palace, but not a good start for Watford defenders there. And at last we get a goal. It only took 27 minutes for us to get a goal. So
it's a good week if you've got 5 at the back this week, isn't it, so far? So.
It is so far, and I've got 3 on my bench, which I was tempted to bench boost and I didn't. I'm half wishing I had now, but again, it is early days. MacArthur assist. Thank you very much. Metal Cleats, not the most exciting, but
not the highest owned player.
Not the highest owned player in the world. No, it's not. No, just update that, guys, on the
ticker.
On the ticker. Okay, so thank you for that, everyone. So our first goal of the afternoon comes at Crystal Palace. Question from Lewis Greenway. Rich, what do you think about Mahrez? I've got my views. What do you think?
I think he's a really good player. Always have done. But as a fantasy pick in Pep's team, I just don't think he starts enough games, and I don't think you can always rely, pretty much apart from KDB and Edison, City assets are just a risk. Even Aguero is a risk to own because of the rotation in play, and particularly as they get into the crux of the Champions League games, which is a prioritisation now for City, because they're going to come second in the league. They're going to cruise in second, and they're going to focus on the Champions League, and so they will rotate around those Champions League games. That's my view.
No, I'm exactly the same. He's one of those players. So I've got him in Telegraph Fantasy Football because he did really well in that game, because you get points for assisting the assister, and it doesn't really matter if he doesn't play every game in that. So I've got him in that one because it's just like a set and forget. But he's a lot of money in FPL for someone who could just come on and get a 1-pointer and potentially block a clean sheet or whatever. And I think 2 weeks ago he went 2 weeks without playing a minute even. So, wonderful player, great asset. But with Sane back, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Sterling, it's just it's really, really tough to go with Mahrez. But he's just as likely to get a 1 point over 2 games as he is to score 30 points over 2 games. So he's definitely one of these, he's one of these players who, if you really want to punt, he's well worth the punt. James Harden, Zaha is thinking about Jordan stealing his points. AU, get off my cloud, and then apologises for his joke. It's not too bad. You don't have to apologise for jokes like that. Leonardo Silva, Rolling Stones puns are welcomed. Anyone with any Rolling Stones?
Before the end of the show.
Very good. Just let everyone know we are 32 minutes now into the kickoffs. We've only had 1 goal between all 5 games, which is Crystal Palace with Jordan Ayew assisted by MacArthur. So not the most exciting one. Good evening, Dave Tucker. Afternoon to you too. Welcome back. Question for Rich off Shani Rassal. Trip captainship on Theresa May. Hang on, sorry. I think I'm going mad. Triple captainship on Theresa May up front for Liverpool and on pens versus 9-men Norwich. Or Boris, centre back for City at home to Burnley. I'm not
sure I get that, but okay.
Have a think about that one, Rich, for a second, and we will go. Hello there, Michael Svedin. Hello, James Conroy. James Harden Hey guys, how's it going? Not making lasagna this week, so fully focused on the goals that aren't yet being scored. Please feel free to make lasagna. Please feel free to do whatever you do. Just make sure that you're listening to FPL Saturday Live by Fantasy Football Hub, the only place to be at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon for your FPL needs. Question by Notorious Nerd for you, Rich. Is DCL, so Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a season keeper? Really good question.
He is in my team at the moment, and he's not going anywhere. So I don't know about a season keeper. He may go on the wild card, but I've held him through all these difficult fixtures. He's playing in my team away to Chelsea tomorrow. So yeah, I'm very happy with him. You know, for 5.9 million or whatever it is I bought it for. Yeah, he's gold. Yeah, absolutely.
Agree. And on our on one of our early podcasts, I'm not sure if you were on it, Rich, but I got called a rubbish podcaster at Christmas, purely because I tipped DCL to go on a good run of games. So you know. Jota has had a bit of a knock apparently, but he's back up and on the pitch, so I didn't want to frighten anyone there. I've captained Jota in Sky, but apparently he's had a knock, but he is Jota is a player I want to bring in. I was tempted to do Ings to Jota for a hit this week. I'd done my hit already, so
I think I'm going to get the Newcastle and Norwich games out of the way for Ings, and then Ings will go for Jota in 31, all being whether it's a free hit or whether it's on transfer. I definitely think I'll make that move. I think for 6'3", is he? Something like that.
6'2", 6'3",
4 maybe. Yeah, he's still going to save a bit of money off the Ings transfer, and he's worth it. You know, he's definitely the double attack with Jimenez is very attractive.
It is. The only thing with Wolves, we've had a goal at Sheffield United. Please don't be Lundstrom, who's sitting third on my bench. But we've had a goal at Sheffield United. Sheffield United have scored against Norwich. We'll try and get all the details now in a second. And there's also been a goal. Newcastle have scored against Southampton as well.
Oh my goodness.
Newcastle have scored, and Sheffield United have scored. So.
Okay, I'll look at the Sheffield United one. Then you look at the Newcastle.
A couple of goals in quick succession there. We will wait to see what comes out of those goals.
Billy Sharp for Sheffield United.
Who is it? Sorry,
Billy Sharp. Yeah.
Billy Sharp for Sheffield United.
Try and get the assist in a second.
It looks like the Newcastle goal may have been VAR'd out. It's gone back. It's gone back to 0-0. Yeah. So McCarthy's points are still there. So apologies for all the drama there. But it looks like the Newcastle goal has been VAR'd out. Oh, someone's Metal Cleats is saying Lundstrom assist. I hope not. He is third on my bench. James Harden is saying Dean Henderson assist.
There's the Lundstrom assist.
We're seeing Henderson assist, Lundstrom assist, Basham assist. We're seeing all sorts of bloody assists coming up.
Shouting out anything.
It sounds like it was a goal-mouth melee or something. I'm not really sure, but
there's no assist come up officially yet. It is Lundstrom assist on.
You're joking.
Has been confirmed. So if you have got Lundstrom, guys, well done.
God alive.
Currently been on a cleanie as well. So very good.
Shani Russell. It's going like this at the moment. Shani Russell, but he's saying Theresa May assist, and Lewis Greenway says McGoldrick assist. So. But it's been confirmed by FPL as a Lundstrom assist. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So just bring everyone quickly up to date on what I've done. I've taken Marnie out for a hit, and I've benched Lundstrom. So a wonderful.
Is he first bench or is he
bloody third? I think he's third. But there we go. So I'll just update those and. Just everyone know the Newcastle goal was disallowed for VAR. I'm not sure who scored that actually. If anyone is watching that game, please let us know what happened there in that game. But the McCarthy, Stevens, etc. clean sheet is still intact for a while after 38 minutes. David Tucker, I feel you, bro. Lundstrom third on my bench. Just to see if we got any other.
Have you got ownership stats there, Andrew? What is Lundstrom's ownership now?
So his effective ownership if effective ownership overall is 31%. So he's still 42% owned overall, Lundstrom is, in the whole game. Obviously, a lot of them will be dead teams, which is not good because it means a lot of dead teams potentially be overtaking us this week if he hauls.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of the top 10k, Lundstrom, so he's not in the top 8 or 9 plays for effective ownership, which is good for top 10k. Absolutely, Akil. You will get the goals here faster than anywhere else. We've got our little fancy football hub tool, which gets us goals through at the speed of light.
We've got all our sources and colleagues in the community who are firing information at us.
Absolutely,
so, that's the aim of the show, is to try and bring you the news faster than the TV stations.
This is it. And so far, that's what we're doing. Apparently, according to Ed BHAFC, obviously a Brighton fan, you guessed Wolves all over Brighton. So
Not surprised at that. Hopefully Ryan's racking up some save points then, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I did see a question earlier. Rich, one for you. Doherty, so I would love to have had Doherty in this week. What are your thoughts on him? Is he essential?
Worth it. Definitely worth it. I think I'm going to have to wait, just because again of money. I think I'm going to have to wait for the wild card to bring him in. So if a free hit, he'd definitely be in my free hit team for 31. If I'm wild carding, I think you'll see a template of Doherty, Alonso, and Trent will be the back three now in late season wildcard. So it is going back to that big at the back. As long as you've got a couple of cheapies to support those three on the bench, then that's the way to go. It'll be those three, because Alonso and Doherty are on fire at the moment, and it's like having an extra attacker basically for a defensive price.
I agree with that completely. Cryptical M-Tap. So we did touch on this earlier. Wildcard or free hit game week 31. Rich, wildcard for 31?
I wouldn't wildcard in a week with 4 games. So free hit is fine for 31 if you want to use a chip and you can't cover it. I mean, as I said at the beginning, I think I might go into 31 with 7 players, but I think that's probably the minimum you could or should do it with. Just as an advice. I mean, I don't feel great about 7 because there's many people with 8, 9, 10 full sides, but the value of saving the free hit chip is so good that I'm probably inclined to do that. I might take 1 or 2 hits on the way in and have 8 or 9 or something, but I would like to save the free hit for later.
Okay. Just to answer Metal Cleats, the Newcastle goal was VAR. We're not sure why. It would be good actually if someone could let us know about that. Lewis Greenway, Doherty and Alonso over Liverpool defenders at the moment. It's hard to disagree with that, in all fairness. Doherty especially, he's playing like a right winger, and I saw some fancy football hub stats and I saw some heat maps. Basically, Doherty not far off playing in the number 9 role a couple of weeks ago. He's always up there. He's always attacking. He's a really good finisher as well. Actually, he's a really good header of the ball. So he's definitely on my want list for the coming weeks. He's frightening, and also since Bolly has returned to the side, Wolves have kept a lot of clean sheets as well. So he looks a really, really good pickup. Alonso, we did touch on Alonso last week. Obviously he scored the 2 goals live on this show last week. Again, a little bit potentially like Mahrez, a bit. You never know if he's going to play or not. I think that's the thing. But the fixtures do look good, so we will see. In the games just coming up to the 42nd and 43rd minute, just let everyone know we've only had 2 goals so far this afternoon. Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0, and Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0. If you held on, apparently it's a penalty for Newcastle. Apparently,
well, there was some VAR activity. I think it's been a VAR decision. So. Yeah, it hasn't been VAR'd out. I think I was looking at the VAR screen thinking, what is this for? But yeah, it must be for that penalty, Andrew.
Okay. Pen for Newcastle, the guys in the chat, thank you so much, guys. They're saying a possible penalty, pen for Newcastle. Notoriously, it said Saints on the beach. And thank you very much, Shani Russell. The Newcastle goal earlier was disallowed because Almiron had drifted offside. Nice high line from Southampton. Boris leading them well. We're getting closer to the clues on what on what Shani's talking about. And a Fernandez yellow. So I'm assuming that is for Newcastle, probably for the incident leading up to the goal. No, it wouldn't. Ignore me, because he plays for Newcastle.
I think it says penalty. Penalties.
They haven't scored it yet. I know that.
They're taking a long time to take it, aren't they? I think Matt Ritchie's going to take it.
David Tucker, Matt Ritchie to take it. They still haven't scored it yet. We wait with bated breath. Matt Ritchie, he played really well last week, actually. I think he was unlucky not to get McCarthy save. I'm saying McCarthy save.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. What a good keeper he's been to get in. Really.
People have bench boosted this week. I think FPL Fantasy Guide has bench boosted McCarthy.
Yeah, Andy Green, yeah.
Andy Green.
Oh, wow, that's a big swing.
He's on my bench as well. I've got McCarthy and Lundstrom sat on my bench. You can't even believe it. But a missed penalty from Matt Ritchie. Incredible scenes with Alex McCarthy, who everyone was wondering this week whether he'd even be in the team again, which is one of the nagging doubts about my bench boost, whether to do it or not.
Yeah, Adam Hotcroft was pretty convinced he was going to get dropped, wasn't he? So, and he's not often wrong, Adam. So
he's not.
He's obviously going to be all right for a few weeks now, isn't he? Having saved a penalty. So,
Jonathan Ayres bought Ritchie in a wild card this week. That is incredibly unlucky. Jonathan, not much you could do about that. You obviously made the right move, not knowing that McCarthy was going to save it. That's incredibly unlucky. But yeah, McCarthy pen save. The points haven't updated yet on livefpl.net, but I'm assuming that will take him right up, because he will get his penalty save points. He will also get the bonus points for that. 8 points, thank you, Leonardo. It's not showing yet on livefpl.net, but thank you very much for that. And obviously, if he keeps his clean sheet, he will be on for an absolute haul, likely a 15-pointer, I would guess. David Tucker, Pope apparently the highest scoring fantasy asset since I took him out 5 weeks ago. Yes,
yeah, I took him out at Christmas on the wild card, and I've had no returns from Ryan. No. Since game week 20.
Yeah, a few have done that.
Still haven't had the opportunity to sell him. Yeah. And Pope's been killing me, racking up the points. So yeah, Pope's coming into my team in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, we're approaching half-time. It's half-time in the Sheffield United Norwich games. That is 1-0 to Sheffield United. Just to bring everyone up to speed, that was a Billy Sharp goal, assisted by John Lundstrom. All the other games are still going on at the moment. As soon as we get to half times, we will let you know. Please feel free in the chat, guys, to ask us anything at all. It's not very often we have FPL royalty with us in terms of Rich Clarke. For those of you who don't know Rich's record, he's a very humble gent, but behind Matthew Jones, or maybe even level on turns with Matthew Jones, he has got one of the best FPL records you could ever wish to see. Half time in Arsenal West Ham, so that is 0-0. Not good for Aubameyang owners or captainers as yet for that, but it is only half time, and it is also half time with Wolves and Brighton too. So nothing at the moment for the darling FPL at the moment.
Patient Aubameyang owners, yeah.
I'm not sure how patient we are.
Still got 3 halves to go to survive, but yeah, so far so good. I mean, the McCarthy thing, I think, is, well, there's 2 things this half, isn't it? The McCarthy penalty save,
massive,
so McCarthy, and you're playing McCarthy, that's worth much gold, and the Lundstrom assist and potential clean sheet. Got both of those, then you really are going to have a good week. So could be quite a few teams with both those players.
I think there'd be quite a few dead teams as well, I would guess as well. So it's still not showing. I'll see if if it needs a refresh, live.fpl.net, but it's still not showing that McCarthy save in terms of the overall points as yet. But we will get that up to date. But that is looking good. Michael Svedin, thoughts about Rhys James? I'll just go quickly first on this one. So I think Rhys James is a wonderful player. Chelsea have got half decent fixtures. He looks very attacking. My only thing with Rhys James is Chelsea just can't seem to keep a clean sheet for love nor money, even though they did against Liverpool in the midweek in the FA Cup. But I do think he's a good shout. Rich, have you got any specific thoughts on Rhys James at all?
Yeah, I like him. I'm a Chelsea supporter. I think he's pretty much cemented his place in the side. How much is he? Just over 5 million.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's so much value around under 5 million that he tends to get overlooked, and he's not quite in the Alonso trend property bracket at 6 million. So he's in that kind of no man's land. And if you've got 5 million defender, you can really afford to get one of those premium defenders in. So I think that's the move most people will be making. But yeah, I do like him. He's a good player.
I think he's
a year or two behind Alexander-Arnold in his development.
Yeah. I think he's definitely one that when it comes to our game week 1 teams next year, he could certainly be one that could be in there if Chelsea make a couple of good signings. McCarthy has now his points have been updated, so he's on 11 points now, McCarthy. So he's jumped up to the second highest scoring player of the week with that. So if you look at those two players, I'm sorry for being a bit selfish here, but if you look at those top two players, Mane, I took Mane out for a hit, and I've got McCarthy rooted to my bench. That is 24 points minus 4. That's 28 points. And I've also got Lundstrom on my bench as well. 34 points down this weekend so far. Rich, you can laugh. This is the absolute tale of my season so far.
I'm just admiring how professionally you're carrying on.
I'm not inside, mate. You wait till this is over. This desk will be going over. It'll be going over.
It's a cry in your beer moment, isn't it? Really?
Here we go. Christopher, going to miss the second half, going out for dinner. Hope you're going somewhere nice. Hope you're taking your other half somewhere nice, Christopher. We'll make sure to catch the rest of it tomorrow. I hope you do, especially if Aubameyang gets a haul. Please, come on, Aubameyang. Thanks for watching, Chris. Really, really appreciate it. See you, hopefully, on one of the other podcasts or next Saturday when we will be back next week. Thank you, Chris. Akil, clean sheet, 6 points, 6 saves, 2 points, just need one more save. Pen save, 5 points, 3 bonus, 16. Yeah, you're right, because of the save points, it would probably be, yes, it will be 16 points for McCarthy if he keeps a clean sheet, and even more if he gets any more saves. Really good math there, Akil, great stuff. And Metal Cleach, absolutely right. Should be no more worries about Gunn coming back in now for McCarthy owners. Agree with that. I can't see McCarthy being dropped now after penalty save. Just bring everyone up to speed for those who are joining us late. Welcome. Arsenal West Ham is 0-0. So Aubameyang captainer here. A lot of Aubameyang captainers in the chat as well. He hasn't done anything yet. If anyone is watching the game can tell us how he's looked. Apparently he nearly had an assist, but nothing as yet in that Arsenal West Ham game. Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0. Crystal Palace scored through Jordan Ayew, assisted by MacArthur, and the only other goal so far has been the Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0 game. Lundstrom getting the assist for Billy Sharp. In the Southampton-Newcastle game, Newcastle had a goal disallowed for VAR as Almiron drifted offside, and then Matt Ritchie missed a penalty which Alex McCarthy saved. So if you're an Alex McCarthy owner, congratulations, looking good there. And the final game of the afternoon, it is Wolves 0, Brighton 0, which for those, we've got a lot of FPL managers I know who are doubled up top on Jota and Jimenez. No good so far, but apparently they played really, really well. So there may be some joy there in the second half. Akil, thank you for your question. Can you guys pick 2 or 3 differentials under 5% owned past the time over half time. We'll have a look now. We'll have a look, see if we can find a couple of players. Just to pass a bit of the time, I've got a question if I can remember it off the top of my head. So I've got a question here for you all. No cheating. If you cheat, there is no point in doing this if you cheat. So do not cheat on this one. So I've got a question. Which Englishman has the most Premier League caps without playing for England? That is the first one. And the second one is, which foreign player has the most Premier League caps without... the most Premier League appearances, not caps, without playing for their country. Some good questions there for you guys. If you can... You want to have a think about that? They're bloody tough. I'll give you that. I'll give you some more clues as we get closer to the second half. But just to reiterate those, which Englishman has the most Premier League appearances without playing for England, and which foreign Premier League player has the most Premier League appearances without playing for their country?
Are they both current players, Andrew? Are they both currently playing in this year's?
They have recently retired. Heskebo, Akil and Shani Razal are all shouting Mark Noble. Really good answer. That was one who I thought it was, but apparently it's not. There's another player. Crouch is wrong as well, Lewis. Please keep guessing. This is awful. I'm doing this off a second hand. I haven't actually checked the stats on this one, but he if he's not top, we can blame. You can blame my friend, but it's a really good question. It had us all thinking in work the other day. So, but yeah,
it's really, really tough. And he's recently, recently retired is a bit of a clue, but it's still not obvious to me.
Either recently retired or they've kind of moved on. But they're not playing in the Premier League anymore.
Yeah,
either the Englishman or the foreign player.
Or they've never played for their country.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about a journeyman here, aren't you? Really, someone who's
either a journeyman or someone who played for the same team for a long time. But anyway,
I think
we are so 5 minutes to the second half. If anyone has any questions at all, guys, for Rich or myself, just going to have a look at some of the FPL players under 5%, just to see in terms of differentials who we think would be nice differentials going into the running. Rich, have you got kind of any off the top of your head, any players at the moment which you're kind of looking at, any real low owned players at all?
I'm trying, in terms of really low ownerships. I don't know. I mean, I know that I've started to look ahead at the sort of players that I would want. I think there'll be an upsurge in Man United players, but they tend to be the most popular players in the game. So you'll see people loading up on them. I don't think any of them will be differentials though in the 5% or less category. Maybe Williams. How much is Williams these days? Brandon Williams. Maybe
it's about 4.1, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, what percentage ownership is he? He could be under 10%, I would think, but.
Massively under 10, yeah.
And how about Tanganga, the Tottenham defender?
I've played him this afternoon actually. I played him ahead of Lundstrom. So
what's his ownership percentage?
It's incredibly low. I'll have to check, but it's very low. It would be like 1 or 2%, I think.
Because they're also virtually free. They're like 4.1. They stick out as playing. Regular playing differentials, a bit like Lundstrom was. You could rely on him earlier in the season, start every game. If they start every game, then that they would be possible wild card bench boost type candidates that I would call out.
Cool.
And I think another example would have been Saka this week. As 4.6 midfielder with a double game week. Again, I haven't got access to ownership stats right now, but he's probably still quite low owned.
Yeah. Metal Cleats says Tanganga is owned by 2.5% of players, so thank you very much for that, Metal Cleats. Lewis Greenway is saying Samatta for Villa. Mark my words. If anyone else in the chat, guys, has got any, if they're a fan of any club who we may not see kind of week in week out, but who they think would look really good players for the coming game weeks, please let us know. Just an update on bonus points then. So in the Southampton Newcastle game, McCarthy is on 3 points. Shelby is on 2. San Maximam, who lost his place last week actually, he is on 1. In the Wolves Brighton game, Bolly and Bissouma are both on 3. Dendonker's on 1. Dunk is on 1, and Proper is on 1. In the Arsenal West Ham game, which is just refreshed, it is Ceballos is on 3 bonus there. Marie, the new defender, is on 2, and Xhaka, David Luiz and Diop are all on 1. Crystal Palace, Watford, unsurprisingly, AU is on all 3 at the moment, with MacArthur on 2, Decore on 1, and in Sheffield United Norwich again, unsurprisingly, Billy Sharp is on 3, Lundstrom is on 2, and Godfrey is on 1. So they are the bonus points so far. We will try and bring you updated ones just before we go off air towards the end of the games. Rich, question for you off Wilson NG. I currently have Guaita in goal. Would you transfer him out on game week 31 as he plays against Liverpool?
I probably wouldn't transfer any player out that was already had a game in 31. If you already have 11 players and you could afford the change, then and nothing else is wrong amongst your team, then that's a different question. So I'd only transfer him out if I could afford Nick Pope or maybe Ben Foster or someone who was a better keeper with a better fixture, and I didn't have anything else to do. Otherwise, I'd just play him and get some save points.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you? What would you do?
No. I'd agree. I'm, as I say, I try hard and not be swayed by all these these false dawns of blanks and doubles personally, but I would.
With goalkeepers, I don't really like to use one transfer on a goalkeeper.
No, exactly as well. There's so many really good options around at the moment, isn't there? That it seems a waste. So I would just keep. Rich, you're just able to drop down a few inches. You're a bit higher than you were last one. Yeah, I don't mean like. Crouched.
Yeah, sorry, on the edge.
Perfect. No, we could.
The screen.
We could only see your chest was all. So,
yeah, exactly.
Saka is 5% owned. Thank you, Ahmed, for that. Shani Razar, one for you guys. Stuck on your 2. I'll give you a couple of clues in a second to take us into the second half. Which player has 134 points for the season yet is still under 10% ownership? Good question, Shani Rassol. We will take a look at that. Take a look at that now. Think about that. Rich can never think about that one. And I will as well. Notorious Nerd. Who is the best defensive pick from United? AWB or Maguire? For me, it's Maguire. More attacking threat, more nailed on. I think Wan-Bissaka had a knock as well, but he seems to start to come into his own now. Maguire, hell of a threat off corners.
I'd go Maguire for a defender.
Agree.
Yeah.
Just a clue on the. I'll give you a clue on the foreigner one first. So the foreigner was a Frenchman who didn't play for France. So he made a lot of appearances in the Premier League. Frenchman made a lot of appearances in the Premier League. He made the most by a foreigner that wasn't capped by his country. So that is a clue there. Just so we know, the second half has kicked off with Sheffield United and Norwich. So they've got us underway first. They're into the 46th minute there. The others haven't yet. We will bring you up to date any second. Metal Cleat says J. Rodriguez as a potential differential. The only thing with Rodriguez is he may share his time. May is the problem. There's a problem there. Lewis Greenway and Nelka. No, it's not. It's not Anelka. Or the one in my head isn't anyway. I'm hoping it's right now. I'm bound to be proved wrong. But this has come from a friend. Cantona. No, believe Cantona did play for France. I believe. Did he play for France, Cantona? It's a while ago.
Yeah, he did.
No,
not many games, but he did play.
Metal Cleats says Maguire last 5 games. His XG is greater than Bissaka. Yeah, I agree. Nicholas Bentner. No, he played for Denmark quite a lot of times, I believe. Scott and Shannon Russell guesses Clichy. I think Clichy did play for France, but you're getting warmer. I'll give you that one. You're getting warmer.
So is he an Arsenal player?
With the Clichy shout. Please feel free, guys, to get any questions or anything else in at all for us. As I say, myself and Rich are here till about 10 to 5, 5 to 5 when all the games finish. Quick update: so all the games have started apart from Palace and Watford hasn't started yet. Neither Southampton, Newcastle, all the rest have started. We will bring you the goals. We'll try and bring you them first before anyone else here at Fantasy Football Hub. A clue for the English. It's too easy a clue for the Englishman if I give this clue away. The team he played for. So he played for one team for a long time. But I suppose the clue I would give is I don't think his team have been in the Premier League for about 5 or 6 seasons now. So I would guess his career, his main career, probably between, and I'm guessing here, I'll put that caveat on, between maybe 2000 and 2015, I would guess. It is not Flamini, no. Koscielny definitely played for France, so it's not him. You guys are getting warmer. You're definitely getting warmer.
Easier to get the foreign player than the England player.
It probably is. Gary B, no, it's not Koscielny.
I've got a guess. Wasn't William Gallas, was it?
No, it wasn't. He played for France a lot, I think.
Yeah,
Rich.
I think
he played a lot.
Just suddenly, I keep going through all those Arsene Wenger's French.
That's right. Yeah. Shani Rassol says Ryan Shawcross for the Englishman. You are incorrect. But Wilson NG has said Sylvain Distin, and you are correct, Wilson NG. Sylvain Distin was the Frenchman who had the most Premier League caps.
We got a Fantasy Football Hub mug to send.
I wish. Yeah, well, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do this every week.
Get some mugs printed up.
We will do this every week. Sylvain Distin was the answer I had anyway, so I hope that's right now. There's still the Englishman to get. So no goals yet in the second half. All the games have all started. It's Arsenal 0, West Ham 0. Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0, Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0, Southampton 0, Newcastle 0, and Wolves 0, Brighton 0. From an FPL perspective, probably the most important things that have happened today is Sadio Mane, who has an effective ownership of 24%, which is very, very it's very low for him. Scored 13 points earlier today, so he had a goal and assist maximum bonus as Liverpool beat Bournemouth 2-1. Mohamed Salah also scored in that game and we believe got 2 bonus points as well. So if you captain Salah, well done for that. McCarthy has saved a penalty from Matt Ritchie, so he is at the moment on 11 points. But if they keep their clean sheet, even though we must remember Southampton have had a red card in their team, but he is looking for an absolute haul, firmly rooted to my bench. Jordan Ayew has scored. He is still very, very low owned. Seems a really nice player. Only 2.64%.
Getting close to 10 goals this season.
He scored a few. He's quite consistent. Yeah, definitely.
A good 5. It could be good again. When people are looking for bench boost options and making up that 15th player in your squads. He's around 5 million, 5.1, isn't he? Really cheap. So that could be a good option later in the season.
Gary B, congratulations! You have guessed the English player, Kevin Nolan.
Yeah,
Kevin Nolan, primarily for Bolton.
Years of games for
years
Bolton.
And years. What a footballer as well. Well done, guys. I tell you what, you've done well to get them. I did get Nolan after a series of hints, but I was absolutely nowhere on Sylvain Distin. So well done, guys.
If you were playing 10 years ago, Kevin Nolan was fantasy gold years ago, wasn't he? He used to come up with goals all the time, and he was one of these players that was cheap to buy, always played, and would come up with 6 or 7 goals a season as well, wouldn't he? He was like really, really good when he was playing for Sam at Bolton.
He was, and I remember which year was it? I'm gonna guess something like 2002 season. Bolton beat Everton 5-0 in the opening fixture of the season, and Michael Ricketts scored 2, and Kevin Nolan scored the other 2 as well. If anyone wants to look back at that and confirm that, I think it was 2002, maybe 2001, maybe 2003. But yeah, and I'm sure Bolton came up that year. I'm sure they came up, and they whooped Everton 5-0 on the opening day of the season. Ricketts and Nolan. I remember because of Sun Dream Team, and a guy who was in my mini league cheated because he put Ricketts in after the deadline. But anyway, we're talking 20 years ago now.
You could get away with that sort of thing.
You could get away with it then when it wasn't all done on the internet. Yeah. Laurentius Michael, effective ownership Salah is unreal. It is. This effective ownership is spoiling the game a little bit, I think, because it just makes you realise that you're actually cheering on for players that if they scored you haven't captained them, then actually they drop you down the ranks. Shani Russell. Tell you what, Shani Russell has made me laugh a few times this afternoon. He's very good. Ings or Jota, and rename my team to Rich's Chest FC.
Chest FC. This was close to the lens.
Absolutely. Ings or Jota. I think we're all probably on Jota there. I would guess, as we kind of talked about earlier. And you should definitely rename your team to Rich's Chest FC.
I might rename my own team for that.
Yeah. 66 Ferrari, William Gallas. Sorry, that answer is incorrect. It was Sylvain Distan. I think that guys. Gary B. I remember a lot of calls for him to get in the England team, but Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, he had no chance. Yep, completely agree. It's sad it happens like that at times for Kevin Nolan. How we talk about Kevin Nolan on FPL show, but anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right. And we will think up 1 or 2 good ones for next week to pass the time away. And if we can get Will to part with some dosh for some fantasy football hub mugs, then we will get them to you guys, and we'll try and do this every week. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts, anything, guys, please feel free to put it on the chat. We've only had 2 goals in 53 minutes. That's 265 minutes of Premier League action this afternoon. We've only had the 2 goals. I don't know, it seems to be the theme at the moment, Rich, on these Saturday afternoons, but there are another 5 games next week as well. So hopefully we'll see some goals next week.
It's quite hard to cover it with when there's not that much action going on. But we'll probably get them like buses in a minute. We'll get 3 or 4 in. You're
right. Ben Bishop, afternoon, guys. Bench boost going really well, but why did I swap Mane for Sterling? I think there's a few of us in that. But apart from Rich, he kept Mane. But really glad your bench boost is going well, Ben. I was really tempted to bench boost this week. I've been saying it in my hub articles for weeks about it, and I didn't do it. And at the moment, my bench is McCarthy, so he's on, what is he on, 11? Lundstrom's on 6. Lascelles is currently on for a clean sheet as well, and my other one would be Fleck, who hasn't done anything yet, but no doubt he will score to rub salt in the wound. But
yeah, I've got clean sheets all over my bench at the moment as well. Lascelles and Stevens, I had to bench them, and all my defenders had good games this week. So.
It's a crazy week this week. Yeah. I think out of my 15 players, I think 14 of them were playing at home. It was a bit of a crazy week. No more goals so far in the second half. Question, Rich, for you off Notorious Nerd. Do you keep Ings if he blanks, or jump on Deeney Jota next game week? What do you think about that, Rich?
I'm probably going to give Ings the Norwich game, but I might bring Jota in next week. I'm not sure when Wolves play in Europe next. If it's next week, then I probably would leave the Jota move just in case there's a bit of rotation there for Wolves. I am probably going to bring Jota in for Ings, but probably not till 31.
They play Olympiacos next Thursday. They're away to Olympiacos Thursday the 12th of March. It is this week. They then away to West Ham on the Sunday, and then they have the return leg for Olympiacos the following Thursday. So Wolves have got a lot of games coming up. and then 3 days later they play Bournemouth. So a lot of fixtures for Wolves, but they do have those 2 Olympiacos games in there as well. Shani Rasol, Saka just missed a tap in, not trolling. Big chance for him. All but 2 out of the game. Arsenal fully in control, so you'd assume a goal to come. Let's hope any Orba captain is that he does do something. Doesn't look too good at the moment. Still no goals in the second half in any of the games so far there. Question, Rich, off Metal Cleats. Is it worth rotating the keeper now or waiting until you bench boost in 37 if that is the current chip plan? What are your thoughts there, Rich?
Yeah, I only have one keeper at the moment. It's Ryan, and I'm going to change him probably before Gameweek 31, so I've got a keeper, and it will be Pope. If you look at Pope's fixtures for the rest of the season after next week, because I think they play City next week, then that's the only reason I'm not swapping for Pope until Gameweek 31. But then their run-in is nice, and it's just performances and Burnley, the way they play, it's just a safe pair of hands, basically.
Agree, literally, yeah. Neomar, I currently have 5 players for game week 31. Should I free hit or just navigate with free transfer and a few hits? I don't have a wild card. So we did touch on this earlier, Neo, with the 5 players. I think, I personally think that it's worth doing a free hit. I think 34 will likely be underwhelming. And then you can look to bench boost in 37. Rich has kind of, other thoughts on it. He thinks 34 and 37 could be a bit more profitable than 31. For me, it's that that kind of additional Spurs West Ham game. I just think it gives a few more options, a few more real low owned options as well potentially. Maybe someone like just off the top of my head, someone like Bergwijn, potentially Ali, for example. There's a lot of players who could potentially do well, even though West Ham are starting to hold their own defensively at the moment. At the moment, they're keeping a clean sheet against away to Arsenal, which is no mean feat the way Arsenal have been playing. So I think Neo on that one. I personally think if you're chasing, so if you're behind in your mini leagues, I would probably go for it. If you're not, you could potentially save it for a better opportunity.
I think you make a good point there. I think if you are happy with your rank or you're close to winning your mini league or your rivals, then I would play, keep your chips for later, keep them in your pocket till you have to use them. But if you're kind of running out of weeks to get up the rankings, so you might as well try and throw something at it, now, basically. So, yeah, good point, Andy.
For those who have been watching for a couple of weeks, I'd just be interested really, really quickly to know how the stream is running. I've had a few issues. I've moved up into the attic, as you can see, and I've had a few streaming issues. I've got it hardwired in now, and I'd just be interested to see if the streaming and the audio is running okay. So for those who've been listening for a couple of weeks, please let me know if it's running a little bit better. And thank you, Kieran. I've spelt sharp wrong. Have I done that? Oh, I put an E on the end. Oh, thank you for that. Sorry, mate. Thank you for that. That has changed like lightning, Kieran, but thank you so much for that. Again, still, any questions, any comments, any thoughts, anything for Rich at all, please let us know. It's not very often you have Rich's full attention. Just while we're on and we're quiet, if there is a goal, we will stop everything and we will jump to the goal, but there is it at the moment. But don't forget to catch the live FPL podcast by Fantasy Football Hub on Monday evening at 8 p.m. So I will be hosting, as usual. Adam Hopcroft and Andy Gree will be on. And also this week we've got a guest FPL coach from Twitter. So if you follow FPL coach, we would like to know a bit more about him. Should be a very, very interesting live show. That's on Monday night at 8 p.m. Also on this channel, Will Thomas also records his excellent videos. We started to doing a few more videos now. Will is the most, Will is one of the most successful FPL managers. and you know, and writers, and I mean, you know, and video makers you could ever hope to wish for. So Will's videos are gold, guys. If any of you don't watch those, please watch them. They are absolutely superb.
He got his wild card this week, isn't he, Will?
He is, and he brought he has. He's brought in Leno for one, which looks like
Leno
a good start.
Good pick. A good pick for this week. I was looking. I think the earlier contributor said about rotating the keepers. I almost brought in Leno this week. I was 0.1 short. I would have brought him in if I had the money for Ryan this week. So he's making a lot of saves. I think he's right up there in the save statistics, Leno. Yes. And effectively, if you can still consider Arsenal to be one of the top 6 teams, you're getting a premium keeper for a average price. So good value.
And tomorrow night we will also be recording our live Sky Fancy podcast. So obviously this is no good for our global audience. So apologies for that, guys. But for those who are based in the UK, we will be doing a live Sky Fantasy Football podcast tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with Dan Cox, the former winner, and Paul McNulty as well. So we do it every Sunday at 8 o'clock. Please listen out for that. And we'll also be doing, again for our UK listeners, a Telegraph Fantasy Football podcast straight after that. That will just be a recording, and that will likely be out on Monday or Tuesday when I get time to edit it. It's going to be a busy few days. Remember, on this channel, and remember on all channels, please don't forget to subscribe and to set alerts as well, so you don't miss anything. Question from Ben Bishop. Andy, are you getting Mane back next week then? No, I'm not. I'm not getting Mane back now. I made a decision. I'm going to stick by it as much as, I've got Aubameyang now, who's got a nice fixture next week. We've also got De Bruyne, who's got Burnley next week. So I will just be leaving it, sadly. At the moment, I haven't got Mane, but these things happen, Ben, and I'm just hoping that I have all my bad decisions and all my bad luck. I think I'm just going to be hoping that it all comes in this one season and we can get back to normal next week. We did have a question earlier, actually. It was quite a lot earlier, but it'd be interesting to get your thoughts, Rich, or kind of our thoughts. He said, what is our current rank and where do we want to finish? Rich, how are you doing at the moment in terms of rank?
I've been improving recent weeks. I'm up to 61k in the world. I was around 400k at Christmas. Good jump. Late wild carded game week 20, and then just have been making sensible moves, not taking any hits, getting the captain right most of the time. And that's seen me move up to 60k. I would like to finish in the top 10k. However, I think this season that is pretty ambitious with 10 weeks to go. But as 50,000 places, I'd like to try and finish in the top 10k. That's always my target at the beginning of each season. But I'm going to need to nail some decisions to do that. I think maybe realistically, top 30k would be where I'm looking.
Okay, a 14th consecutive top 35k finish then, Rich, is it would be. So it wouldn't be bad.
I'd like to beat. I think my worst ever was 32,000th, which was the Leicester season. I was a bit slow to cotton on to the
Mahrez and Vardy
Leicester players, and that was my worst season. Yeah, so if I can beat my worst, then that would be a target. How about that?
Cool. No, that's cool. Still no goals in this second half, guys. We're working really hard to keep the chat coming. According to Lewis Greenway, Arsenal have only had one shot on target so far. That is not good for our hopes for Aubameyang and Ed. Wolves haven't had many chances this half. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the updates. They are really, really useful. Just to touch on my season, so those who have followed me over the years know that I'm having an absolute howler this season. I'm currently around, I think, 660k. I was about 1 million a month or so ago, so I've managed to climb a little bit, but I've been taking a few risks, and trying to trying to climb, but I'd be really, really struggling. So my hopes of a sixth consecutive top 1% finish is looking a bit, a little bit rough at the moment. But I'm still hopeful. If I can get into that top 75k, it would be. But it's looking increasingly unlikely, especially as I took Mane out this week. But as I say, hopefully next season I can push on and get back to normal. Never say goodbye, MVV. Whoop, love the TFF pod. Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much. We will be recording that, myself, Luke and Carl. Very, very interesting times now with all the rearrangements and things as well. And I am very low on transfers on TFF as well, so it'll be interesting to run through that. Notorious Nerd, really good question. What are your 3 most important tips in pre-season for FPL next season? So, Rhys, I'll give you a minute or so to have a think about that. Ooh. My number 1, and it is something which I'm not sure if it's because I've been writing a lot more, been streaming and podcasting, all this kind of stuff, and active on Twitter, all this sort of stuff. But now ownership for me is something which I just cannot get away from, and it will be to try and completely ignore player ownership. I just don't think it's important, and I think that all the stats, all the numbers, all the data, especially on the hub, it's absolutely fantastic stuff. But I will be going back to trying to look at the way I play the game, the players that I look at. I look at a certain way. A lot of that for me is eye test stuff. So last season I wrote a differential article for the hub every week, and basically it picked out players under 10% owned. A lot of that was purely based on the eye test, and that and off those I jumped on players really early, players like Doherty. So I jumped on Doherty last season in game week 3 when he was like 0.8% owned and stuff like that. Jumped on Fraser really early just from watching the games and things. So for me, my number 1 tip is going to be just to ignore ownership and just go with what I think. Rich, have you got any thoughts?
I've got one that sprang to mind, which I would advise, particularly analytical and intense FPL players to do, and that's just to have a rest at the end of an FPL season. Rest your brain from it for whatever break in the season it gives you. We've obviously got the Euros, and that's a chance to sit back and watch some football without worrying about fantasy points. And I really look forward to the break, because I'm thinking about pretty much fantasy football, many hours a week, and I really find it helps to take a complete mental break from the game for a month or two before the new fixtures come out and before everything ramps up. So that's just a small tip. I'm not sure that's quite the answer that you were looking for there, but that's definitely one I would recommend. So the other thing that I do, I don't pay a particular amount of emphasis on pre-season games. I don't look at, often, some guys knocking in 4, 5, 6 goals in pre-season, and the Premier League starts and he doesn't even make the team. Lundstrom was a bit of an exception to that this season, but generally speaking, I don't pay too much attention to pre-season games. And you have to remember that at the beginning of a season, the only information you've got is last season's performance, and you've just got to be prepared to jump quickly onto the emerging form players, that come out in the first 2 or 3 weeks, which is why this year an early wild card, I think, worked better than a late one. And I'll probably play my wild card a lot earlier next season as a result of that learning.
Thank you, Rich. Some brilliant tips there from the maestro himself. So we still haven't had any second half goals. Apparently Adama Traore is on 64. Not sure he's come up for. We'll try and find that now. But Traore is on 64 minutes. Wolves 0 shots on target. Come on, Traore. Quite surprised at that.
I've got Ryan in goal.
That's good for you. That's good for you.
Well, you're not getting any save points, but how far away? Half an hour from a clean sheet, yeah.
About that. No, less, about 20 to 25 minutes now.
Okay.
So
that's fingers crossed then. Yeah, still only 2 goals with 70 odd minutes gone in each game. That's got to be a low, isn't it?
It's a bloody record.
That's got to be an all-time low.
Just to say that the FPL average has gone up now, so the top 10k average is up to 35.93, and the overall average is 28.97. Not to bleat on about it too much, but if you look at the top 3 high-scoring players of the game, which add up to 41 points by themselves. I've got McCarthy and Lindstrom on my bench, and I sold Marnie for a hit. Congratulations, Andrew. Well played. Niels Gustav, I captained Mendy. Need to know if I'm crazy and should delete my account. Seek other forms of help. Champions League suspension should render 2 starts. I wouldn't say you're bonkers, Niels. I think it depends where you are. If you were in like the top 100 of FPL, I may say, you could probably have gone for someone else, but you do what you want to do, mate. I'm a big advocate of that. Ed Brighton, this is my first ever FPL season in the top 100k. Well done. That is really, really good, Ed. Hope it's not the kiss of death for you. It's not always easy. We can assure you of that.
I got a tip for you, Ed. If you stay patient and stay doing whatever you're doing, don't get greedy. If you stay patient, you'll finish well. There we are.
Carl Stockton says Pepe has been subbed, which is not good news for Pepe owners.
Captain Pepe, didn't they?
They did. Someone did captain Pepe earlier. We'll try and find that out. Quite a high-profile player. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Troyer came on for Neves, which means that Jota, Jimenez, Doherty, etc. stay on the pitch. I'm always nervous with Troyer because he does tend to play on that right wing, where Doherty likes to roam as well, doesn't he? So the first half of the season, Doherty was nowhere to be seen, really, wasn't he? As an FPL option, but I think that I was always a bit nervous with that. Magic Spitfire sold Ings and Mane for Orba and Fernandes -4. Not working so far. It's not working so far, but you never know. If Orba scores. If Orba scores, he will likely steal the bonus. He would go up to 18 points, which would also buy your hit as well. So all we really need is an Orba goal, because that will likely be 18 points now. But still no goals in the second half. Just to run through very, very briefly for those of you who are still with us. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on and listening. Hoping you are enjoying. We've also actually got the Burnley. We'll just get the Burnley and Tottenham's team sheets if I can get them up now. I think they have just been announced. So first, Burnley. One change for Burnley. It looks like it is Nick Pope in goal, so he retains his place. Bardsley at right back, Taylor at left back. So those of you who have got Taylor, really good news for you. Ben Mee and Tarkowski then playing at centre back. Hendrick and McNeil playing on the wings with Cork and Westwood in midfield. Wood and Rodriguez up front. So Vidra moves on to the bench. It's probably only a matter of time before Wood came back into the team. And did I see in the week that Ashley Barnes may be back in training soon? I'm sure I saw that.
Isn't Rodriguez top of the shots in the box table or so? I'm not a great stats monitor, but I think he's top at one of the attacking stats right now. I have all the players or something in the last 4 weeks. Not sure, but he's right up there with goal attempts of some sort.
I looked last week, so we did it on the FPL podcast on the Monday, and he was about 5th, and it was really surprising because he was like surrounded by names like Aguero, Salah, and then it was like
he's right
J.
up there.
Rodriguez. Just an update. I don't think we have seen it. Quite an interesting one actually in the Sheffield United game. So Ender Stevens has gone off injured. He does get his clean sheet, so don't
61, didn't
don't
he?
panic.
61st minute or something.
Yeah, Ben Osborne came on, but that is probably not good news for Ender Stevens. Managers for in terms of him going off injured, because if it's a recurrence again, then it's likely he wasn't right in the first place, which is
he did have a knock last week, didn't he?
Yeah, so that is not good news, even though you do get your 6 points for him. And just to run through the Spurs team then, so Lloris is back in goals as captain. Tanganga plays, so he is in my team ahead of bloody John Lundstrom. Sanchez, Dyer, Odaverald, Vertonghen, Oliver Skip keeps his place. So Mourinho said he'd keep his place, so he does keep his place. And Ndombele, Lamela, Dele Alli and Bergwijn. Aurier, quite surprisingly, probably on the bench.
Oh, Aurier. I don't have Aurier, but lots of people do.
Matthew Jones. Apparently Jota's off. We're just hearing that Jota has gone off, subbed off, which is not good news.
The one thing about Jota is that he doesn't tend to get 90 minutes. And that's fine if he's scoring 2 goals in the first 60, 70 minutes, but he does tend to get subbed off very regularly. Jota.
Yes, that is not good news for Jota owners, especially those who took a hit for him. But still no goals in that game. There are 76 minutes gone that game. Still no goals for that. Just finish off, yeah. So Dele Alli and Bergwijn for Spurs there on the bench. Gazaniga, Aurier, Sessegnon, Winks, Kelso, Gedson, and Lucas. I'm a Spurs fan, and looking at that team compared to our team a season or so ago is just absolute chalk and cheese. I really struggle to get excited from it, to be honest. But there we go. Hopefully Tanganga can do the business and keep Chris Wood et al. At bay for a clean sheet for me. Don't know.
Yeah. So Lucas has finally been given a rest. I think he's played every game, hasn't he, since the Son and Kane injuries?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
He needs a rest.
Really good point. Notorious Nerd. Watford scored 3 versus Poole last game week, and now no goals so far versus Palace. What a complete turnaround! It's been one of those seasons. It's been a very nonsensical season this year. I would say that. Look at this Arsenal West Ham game. Arsenal have been playing. Arsenal just scored. Arsenal have just scored. Just as
it's got to be a Aubameyang.
So I said that Arsenal are 1-0 up. We don't know who scored it yet, but they have scored a goal. Come on, Captain Pierre. Come on. But we don't know if it is him yet. We will look to get that now. Jota went off for Daniel Podence on 74 minutes. If anyone can get that Arsenal goal scorer for us, we're all hoping it's Aubameyang, but we don't know yet.
There's a VAR having a look at it, I think.
There's a VAR, is there? Okay.
Yeah, looking at VAR. Well, I can see Matt Letitia talking people through whatever's going on. Okay. So it's definitely under review at the moment.
Oh, apparently they're saying offside, no goal.
Unlucky, mate.
No goal.
Breathe a sigh of relief as a non-owner.
It was Lacazette anyway. Thank you, Metal Cleats, for that.
That. In some ways, that makes it better, doesn't it?
So the West Ham clean sheet keeps rolling. We were just talking about I was literally just talking about West Ham. They looked absolutely dreadful a couple of weeks ago, and now they're keeping a clean sheet away to Arsenal. But probably Lacazette has scored, but is going to be overruled for offside. It would have been an Ozil assist. Thank you very much, Wilson NG, for that. It would have been an Ozil assist. It's still showing as 1-0 on my tracker, but that will obviously be changed now if all you guys are generally right. So that'll be changed. So still no goals in this second half. Oh, Metal Cleat said it's looking like he's on. Actually, we will see. This is it, because it's still showing as 1-0 on the app I'm using. It hasn't been deleted off yet, and it's pretty sharp. So let's hope that. Well, I say let's hope it stays. It doesn't really matter. But
they are still looking at it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's still showing as 1-0. It hasn't been removed off. It hasn't been corrected yet. So we will see. It's still showing as 1-0. No goals in the second half of any of the games. Very briefly, keep 2-3. Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0.
The goal has been given.
It's been given. It has been given. Martin Ellicott, Ozil on by a Nats Doodah. I love that. That is brilliant. I'm hoping all our global followers understand that. If you don't know what a Nats Doodah is,
I think it sounds very, very good in your accent.
Please look on Google. It's something I would say, Rich. That is a Nats Doodah.
Yeah,
he's in by a Nats Doodah. Brilliant. I like that. Martin. Thank you, Mark Bennett. Lafayette goal. I don't know if that's Lacazette's
Maybe
cousin or something. But yeah, brilliant.
Checker there.
So it is a goal. It has been confirmed as a goal. So Arsenal have scored against West Ham. It's 1-0, which may mean that no Aubrey involvement. Shani Razal, no Aubrey involvement. And Newcastle have just scored, I believe. I'm being told that Newcastle have scored. So if that's the case, that is not good for Southampton. We will wait to hear now.
Yeah, that's going to knock McCarthy's major haul back.
It will knock him massively down. Yeah, if anyone can tell us what is going on in the Newcastle game, but apparently it's Southampton 0 Newcastle 1. Who was it? Sorry, San Maximan, the guy who was dropped last week. Incredible.
He's a good player, but he's been fine. He's only scored once this season, I think, hasn't he, in the league? So a rare goal for him. Good player. Has a lot of goal attempts.
Shani Rassal, no. McCarthy clean sheet gone, no. I do find it hard to sympathise when he saved a penalty, but yeah, it looks like that goal is standing as well as the. So we've had 2 goals in 2 minutes from having none in however long. We've had 2 goals in 2 minutes there.
Three in 5 minutes, haven't we? With the Lacazette, which took ages to confirm. Yeah, Lacazette sorry, you're right. 2.
Yes,
sorry, I was looking at another.
2 goals. Let's just hope. No assist given in Newcastle goal, apparently. So who was that? Sorry, that was San Maximan, wasn't it? Let me just update that, guys.
Looks like Danny Ings is.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Ings again, is it? It's just not happening for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, do I get rid next week? I don't know.
Thank you, Ed McAllister. Debut for Brighton. That is interesting. So in the Arsenal game, which we probably a lot of us have got our eyes on there into the 83rd minute. There, you would hope being an Auber captain that West Ham may come out and try and attack and get the clean sheet, leaving Arsenal Aubameyang clean through on the break, but we can hope there. So after that little flurry, so Arsenal 1, West Ham 0 now. Lacazette goal, Ozil assist. Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0. That was a Jordan Ayew goal with a MacArthur assist. Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0. That was a Billy Sharp goal with a John Lundstram assist. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1. So McCarthy has saved a penalty in that game from Matt Ritchie, but Newcastle have just scored through at San Maximan, and it is Wolves 0, Brighton 0. Oop, I just dropped my microphone. And Jota has gone off on that in that game. So a fair bit of it's been a quiet afternoon. Only 4 goals in 5 games. We're into the 85th minute in Sheffield United and Norwich, and for some reason we are only in the 81st minute for Palace and Watford. They must have kicked off 5 minutes earlier. Notorious Nerd, so you're just talking about this, Rich, actually. Are you keeping Ings for one more game or selling, and for who? I think we got Norwich next week, is it?
Yeah, I may sell next week. I've got to make one move next week because I'm carrying 2 transfers, so possibly Ings, but they play in Norwich next week, and Norwich do, still attract quite a lot of chances, don't they? So it's not a bad fixture for Ings, and I may have other things to do, but certainly it's getting close to selling Ings because I think Southampton's fixtures turn after that. Obviously they blank, and then they're not got a great run in of fixtures. So if his form has gone, I would say it's probably time to jump onto Jota or perhaps Troy Deeney for the Watford game week 31.
We'll give an update on bonus points in a minute. So we're only 5 minutes now from the end of a lot of games. Rich, I wonder if you could find the bonus points in a sec.
If you could bear with me.
No, you're fine. It would be great if you could.
Run through those.
Notice McCarthy has gone down from 16 points to 12, so still not a bad return for you McCarthy owners. Lundstram is also on 12, so Maximum has gone up to 10 points. Guaita's on 10, and Leno is on 10 as well. So at the moment, Guaita and Leno are leading the bonus points in the Arsenal and Palace games, I would guess, but Rich will give us all those in a second. Shani Rassal, gun to your head. Final week of the season, you're number 1 overall, but haven't done your team. 3 minutes till the deadline. someone wants your FPL login, overall rank, or in overall rank for your work laptop, insured and easy to replace, or work laptop. So I think Shani Russell is asking, Rich, would you rather finish number 1 overall in FPL, or give someone your work laptop? I think that's what he's asking.
Well, I think that's quite easy. I mean, I'm actually looking at my work laptop now to look the bonus points up for people. So it's a very, very well-timed question. And my work laptop is actually a piece of junk, which I'm going to throw back at them.
There you are.
So I think it's an extremely easy question. That it would be my dream to finish number 1 in FPL.
I think on your tombstone.
I got to number 1 in the Hall of Fame about 18 months ago, which was a wonderful moment for me. So I'd love to have that again. So there we are. Right, bonuses. I'm ready. Do you want me to run through
Please,
them?
if I disturb you, Rich, it'll only be for like a goal or a red card.
For a goal, no, that's fine. All right, so Liverpool from the game earlier. Mane is on 3, Salah on 2, Van Dijk on 1. Arsenal, West Ham as it stands. Leno is top of the Baps with 32, Lacazette on 29, David Luiz and Murray, on 27 each. Palace, Watford, that's currently being led by Guayata, so one of our contributors has him, he'll be happy. Level with Ayew, so they'll be on 3 each on 30. Scott Dan is 1 behind on 29, and Cahill on 25. And Sheffield United, Norwich, Lundstrom is top of the bonus on 37. Billy Sharp, 34, and Chris Basham on 27. Southampton, Newcastle, McCarthy is still holding on to the 3 bonus points. St Maximan is 3 points behind him on 33. And then it's a long way back to Fernandez, who's on 26, having been booked as well. So he's doing well to get a bonus point. He's quite highly owned, Fernandez, as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then finally, Wolves, Brighton. Right now, it's Vinegra, the replacement for Traore, who's top with 29. Saiss also on 29. Bolly 28, and Webster on 24.
Thank you, Rich. I did see that Saiss got booked earlier as well. So the fact that he's on for bonus,
still on for 3 points,
potentially. Yeah,
must have been a good game.
Okay, so only a couple of minutes left now in the game. So Arsenal 1, West Ham 0, 88 minutes gone. Palace 1, Watford 0, 85 minutes. Sheffield United 1, Norwich 0. They're in the 90th minute now on that one. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1, 86 minutes. Wolves 0, Brighton 0, 88 minutes. Thank you, Shannon Russell and James. They're basically asking, would you give away your FPL login or your work laptop? I think we both answered that. I don't know, Rich, if you and I have come to a certain age now, but I think we're of an age now where we're just like, work is work, and
work is a means to
other things are more important, and winning FPL is probably more.
Absolutely, I would never give away my FPL login.
Exactly.
I think 1 or 2 members of the community had some problems earlier in the season.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
with their security compromise, which was not nice for them.
No. Apparently Ozil is off, which means Orba will get 90 minutes, hopefully another 4 or 5 minutes. John Tyner, welcome back. Sorry I'm late, was out for lunch. No problem at all, John. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Actually, hope you've enjoyed. There's only been 4 goals in something like 450 minutes of play. So thank you so much, guys, for entertaining us throughout the afternoon. We've, Rich and I do this because we really enjoy it as well, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
James Harden, currently my team to swap Barnes and Vardy to Saka and Orba is looking bad. Yeah, it seems like hold at the moment. Hold would have been the good thing to do. Naif Alanzari crying over Lundstrom, 12 points on your bench. My only hope is KDB doesn't play a min. I would imagine he would, in all honesty, but we will see about that. Naif. Those top 3 players there, just to remind people who missed it earlier, I took out Mane for a -4, and I've got McCarthy and Lundstrom on my bench. So any sob stories this week, you can do one because I win. James Harden, I blame peer pressure at the always cheating meetup. Oh, it's great to see you went to that, James. I couldn't make this one. I normally attend them, but I couldn't make this one. Hoping for 1 or 2 before the end of the season. Lewis Greenway, I'm off for an ice cream. Thanks for the company, Chico. Enjoy your ice cream, Lewis. And Metal Cleats, 1 shot on target each in the Wolves and Brighton game. Must have been quite a fun game to watch. You can't believe that, can you? Because Wolves have been in absolutely exhilarating form, and Brighton have been woeful. And but yeah, it seems that
that'll be the one that's on last on Match of the Day tonight, won't it?
They're very, very likely to hold on by the look of it. The Hale Cheetahs guys have also gone to one of the games as well. I think they might have gone to Arsenal West Ham, so hopefully they've enjoyed.
Yeah, they're over, aren't they? This is Josh and Brandon, the Americans, who also do a very good podcast early on a Monday. It normally get Sunday night. They record it. They're over for a tour of the UK, aren't they? They're going to about 4 matches in a week, aren't they? They're going to the Manchester Derby tomorrow.
They are, and they're going to Leicester on Monday as well.
Yeah. I just couldn't make it. So.
Snodgrass comes on for Bowen in the last minute of the game there, and apparently in the Brighton game, Alarisa with a great ball. McAllister can't quite get there. Matinho corner looked for Bolly, but it was cleared, so still no goals. We're well into injury time now in the majority of the games. The only one that hasn't quite got there yet is Palace and Watford. Ed, I've watched the whole game live. It's not great, but Brighton will take a point. Absolutely, that is a really good point.
I can't quite believe it's over yet because of the Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I've had nothing from him for 10 weeks, so I could be about to get something, but I'm still not counting on it.
Yeah, a few of the scout guys are Brighton fans, aren't they? Joe will be pleased. They will be, absolutely. Harshal thinking of benching Gomez next week and play with a Liverpool defender. Yeah, it's tough. I noticed that I think Will Thomas, or the Hubs Will, did that this week. He wildcarded Gomez in but put him on the bench, which is quite an interesting move when I saw that, but it's probably turned out to be the right decision. Naif says, in my opinion, Firmino is the key to Liverpool's success. They struggle if he is off form. That may be true. Liverpool just don't seem the team they were a month ago, but they still won, and Salah and Mane took the points again. We can't forget that, guys. They're still scoring the points, even though the defenders didn't. Deep into injury time now, so in the 94th minute now of Arsenal West Ham, 91st minute of Palace and Watford, 95th minute of Sheffield United and Norwich. The full times will be coming in any second. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1, 92nd minute, and Wolves and Brighton in the 94th minute there. And as soon as those games are confirmed, we will let you know, guys. Question from Alian: should I take Mahrez and Orba next week for Mane and a striker? But basically not far from moving the moves I've done this week. Mahrez and Orba next week for Mane and a striker. I don't know. I think part of the reason I brought in Aubameyang and a City player was they have a nice fixture next week. Let's just have a quick
Sheffield United
check.
Full time.
Sheffield United full time confirmed yet, so they keep yet another clean sheet there. Arsenal away to Brighton next week, so I'm not sure I could take Aubameyang out away to Brighton. Full time also in Wolves and Brighton, so that has gone.
Yes.
That's finished 0-0.
Yes, Ryan, never in doubt.
Never in doubt, my Irish. You bloody liar. They're still playing in Arsenal. They're still playing at Palace. They're still playing at Southampton, Newcastle. Those games are still going on. Hoping for a late Orba goal. I don't know. Maybe the Arsenal game hasn't finished because there's a penalty decision going. I'm not sure. Sayage's vlogs. I got in Sa and Orba. Resisted getting in Doherty and both blank this week. Yeah. I think hold was probably the best thing to do this week, but it's very easy in hindsight. Notorious Nerds, what a fun Saturday! Four goals in 5 games. What can you say? It's all about the defence. Arsenal and West Ham is into its 96th minute, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but it is into its 96th minute.
Letitia is looking at something, but it doesn't say VAR. There's some sort of incident going on.
Oh, it would be lovely if it was a penalty and Aubameyang stepped up and banged it in.
They've got to have it. Aubameyang does score late goals, doesn't he?
Don't get me excited now, Rich. Don't get me excited.
They're all standing up. They're all standing up. Don't know what's happening.
Someone's going on the Arsenal game. If anyone can let us know, it isn't
the Arsenal game, but it's not yet a goal anyway. I don't know what's.
It's in the 96th minute. Nothing's been given as yet. Played Pope instead of Ryan, and Ryan keeps a clean sheet. Pope very well might keep a clean sheet. I wouldn't worry against Spurs, because Spurs are bloody woeful
at the moment. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. So the Arsenal game is finished. So the Arsenal game is finished. 1-0. Nothing for Aubameyang. Nothing for Pepe. Nothing for Saka, but he does get a clean sheet point, which is more than Aubameyang. So I suppose you could look at it that way.
Still got another game against City, so
this is it. This is it. Yeah.
We haven't got the port, so they're not rock solid at the back, City. So still hope there.
Harshal, Ali is a shout for Gameweek 31. I think he is. I'll be free hitting in 31, and I think Ali may be a good shout, potentially even Bergwijn as well. But like I say, things are changing so quickly week on week that it's quite hard to say. Palace and Watford is into his 94th minute. Stanton Newcastle is into his 95th minute. James Harden, we obviously all got Aubameyang for the City game. He was never going to score against West Ham. He will score a brace against City 100%. We know that'll happen. Those games are still going on. They're not quite finished. Seems to be a lot of injury time today for a change. Harshal, any of the Spurs assets, I would say, Aurier, looks a decent attacking shout, even if they can't keep a clean sheet. He's generally involved, though he has been either dropped or rested today. And if Son and Kane not back, either Lucas Moura or maybe Bergwijn. It's finished at Southampton Newcastle. Southampton 0, Newcastle 1. So Lascelles clean sheet on my bench. I'm dreading to add up my bench. I've got 24, 30, I've got 33 points on my bench, Rich.
Oh man!
And my team scored about
bench boosted.
My team scored about 15. But there we go. Such is life.
Oh no! And that's really unlucky. That's really unlucky. So based on the reversal of that, someone like someone who has bench boosted this week will have done really well.
Yeah. John Tyner bench boosted. Well done, John. Hoping you add some of those guys in there. I can't really complain. I did play Henderson in goal, so he does keep a clean sheet at least. But there we are. Bilal Qureshi, his boring matches. We're so sorry for the lack of goals. Hopefully we've kept you reasonably entertained for the last couple of hours. John Tyner's only got 10 on his bench so far. Louis bench boosted has got Saiss, Pukki, Caballero and Holgate. So I think you've got your clean sheet from Saiss. May pick up a bonus or two as well. So we'll see. So that game is finished now between Palace and Watford. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it. Only the 4 goals. It's been quite tough. Only the 4 goals, but really, really hope that you come back next week. Yeah, it's all over now. All the games have finished. At the moment, Saiss is projected for 3 bonus, even though he got booked, which is quite surprising. Yeah. But
it normally knocks your bonus back a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So that's it from the games, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch us and listen to us. We apologise that there hasn't been any more goals. 4 goals in 5 games. I'm not sure if that's a Premier League record, but it can't be far off. We have done our best to keep you entertained. Quick one from Bilal, currently on 60 with bonus on for 90k green arrow. Well done, Bilal. Very wonderful. Just a quick reminder then for everyone watching and listening. Don't forget to catch the live FPL podcast by Fantasy Football Hub on Monday evening at 8 p.m. with myself, Adam Hopcroft, Andy Green, and FPL Coach. That will be the lineup for this Monday's FPL podcast. Will Thomas also has his videos on this channel throughout the week too. Remember to keep an eye on those. Please subscribe, set alerts. One thing which really, really helps us, guys, if you could, is please share the word about this FPL Saturday Live. So we get 100 or 200 watchers and listeners. It'd be really, really great to get up, into the hundreds, maybe into the thousands for next season. Please let everyone know how much you enjoy this, if you did enjoy it, obviously. Tomorrow night we'll also be recording a live Sky podcast on the Sky and TFF dedicated podcast feed and YouTube channel. That link is below in the description for here. And also, all the details and links are on the Fantasy Football Hub website, which is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will also find everything you need for fantasy football, all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals in all fantasy formats, and much, much more. Thank you all so much for following and listening. We hope you enjoyed. As I say, please spread the word, everyone. It'd be really great if we can get a load of us talking live FPL and make it a regular thing on a Saturday afternoon. It's really enjoyable for myself and Rich and Adam when he's available. Really enjoy it. We will keep this going week on week, but we want more watchers, we want more listeners, we want loads of interaction. Please spread the word. It would be wonderful if you could do that. We'll be back next Saturday. There are 5 3 p.m. games for game week 30. We'll be back at 2:45 p.m. to do it all again. Thank you for all your comments in the chat, guys. Really appreciate it. And we hope you had a great FPL day. And best of luck for tomorrow. We will see you next week, guys. Hope you have a great weekend. And thank you.